Most men think foolishness comes from low intelligence. It doesn't. It comes from an uncontrolled mouth. A foolish man is rarely silent. He speaks quickly, he speaks emotionally, and most importantly, he reveals himself without realizing it. In Stoicism, wisdom is not proven by what you know. It's revealed by what you don't feel the need to say. Marcus Aurelius once wrote that the best way to live is not to explain yourself to everyone, but to become someone who needs no explanation. Yet foolish men do the opposite. They announce their weakness in public, again and again, and the world listens. The thumbnail says, "Foolish man always says 5 things," for a reason. Because these phrases are not accidents, they are patterns. And once you learn to recognize them, you'll never hear people the same way again. This video isn't about mocking anyone. It's about awareness, so you don't become the man others silently lose respect for. Because here's a hard truth most men never hear. People don't judge you by your intentions. They judge you by your words. A foolish man believes talking gives him power. A Stoic understands silence already has it. In the next minutes, we'll go through 5 things a foolish man always says, why he says them, what they reveal about his inner state, and how a Stoic mind would respond instead. If you stay till the end, you'll start hearing conversations differently. You'll spot insecurity before it speaks loudly, and you'll learn how calm men quietly rise while noisy men expose themselves. Before we begin, understand this. Stoicism is not about being cold, it's about being unmovable. Epictetus taught that if you want to improve, you must stop asking others to approve your behavior. Foolish men never learned this lesson, so they speak to be validated, to be noticed, to feel important for a moment. That need leaks out in their words. Let's begin with the first thing a foolish man always says. And once you hear it, you'll realize how often you've heard it, and how damaging it truly is. If content like this sharpens your thinking and strengthens your character, make sure you subscribe to Quiet Stoics. This channel is about building inner discipline, emotional control, and mature power, one idea at a time. Now listen closely, because the first phrase separates disciplined men from insecure ones. The first thing a foolish man always says is this: "I'm just being honest." On the surface it sounds brave, direct, even virtuous, but Stoicism teaches us to look beneath words, not admire them. A foolish man uses honesty as a shield, not to tell the truth, but to avoid responsibility for how his words land. When he says, "I'm just being honest," what he really means is, "I didn't think before I spoke, and now I don't want to be held accountable." Marcus Aurelius warned that not every thought deserves a voice. Yet the foolish man believes every thought deserves an audience. He confuses honesty with impulse, and impulse is never wisdom. Here's what's really happening psychologically. A foolish man feels something uncomfortable inside him: jealousy, resentment, insecurity. So instead of sitting with it, he exports it. Words become his release valve. Stoics understood this deeply. They believed emotions are information, not commands. You observe them. You don't obey them. But the foolish man obeys immediately, and then he baptizes his lack of control by calling it honesty. Real honesty is deliberate. It's measured. It's purposeful. Foolish honesty is reckless. Epictetus taught that before you speak, you should ask yourself one question: is this within my control? Your words are. Their reaction is not. A wise man speaks knowing both. A foolish man speaks hoping the world will adjust to him. That's why this phrase slowly destroys respect. People don't feel closer to you. They feel unsafe. Because if you'll say anything, anytime, to anyone, you're not honest. You're unstable. Now let's move to the second thing a foolish man always says: "You don't understand me." This sentence sounds vulnerable, almost deep. But again, Stoicism asks us to examine intent, not emotion. When a foolish man says, "You don't understand me," he's outsourcing clarity. He believes it's other people's job to decode him, to be patient with his contradictions, to excuse his lack of self-awareness. A Stoic man does the opposite. He seeks to understand himself first. Marcus Aurelius wrote that if you are distressed by anything external, the pain is not due to the thing itself, but to your estimate of it. A foolish man hasn't examined his estimates, so he demands understanding instead of earning it. Here's the hard truth. If many people don't understand you, the problem isn't depth. It's communication. Wisdom is clarity. Confusion is noise. Foolish men romanticize being misunderstood. They wear it like a badge of uniqueness. But most of the time, it's just emotional disorder dressed as mystery. Stoics valued precision in thought, in speech, in action. If you can't explain yourself calmly, you don't fully understand yourself yet. And that's not an insult, it's an invitation to grow. But the foolish man rejects that invitation. Instead, he repeats the phrase, "You don't understand me." Over time, people stop trying, not because they're cruel, but because they're tired. Now let's look at the third thing a foolish man always says. That's just how I am. This sentence kills growth. It sounds like self-acceptance, but it's actually surrender. Stoicism is built on the belief that character is trained, not fixed. Your habits shape your destiny. When a foolish man says, "That's just how I am," he's freezing himself in time. He's telling the world, "I refuse to examine myself." Seneca warned that as long as a man believes his flaws are his identity, he will protect them instead of correcting them. And that's exactly what happens. The foolish man defends his worst traits as personality. Anger becomes passion, rudeness becomes realness, laziness becomes being chill. A stoic man doesn't hide behind identity, he refines it. He understands that discomfort is the price of improvement. That's why disciplined men rarely say who they are, they show it. Now pause for a moment. Notice something important. None of these phrases are loud insults. None of them are obvious stupidity. That's why they're dangerous. They sound normal, they're socially accepted, and they quietly erode respect over time. In the next part, we'll uncover the final two phrases, and these are the most revealing of all, because they expose a man's relationship with responsibility and ego. If you want to become the kind of man whose words carry weight instead of noise, make sure you're subscribed to Quiet Stoics. This channel isn't about motivation. It's about discipline, awareness, and inner authority. Stay with me, because the next phrase is one you hear every day, and once you see it clearly, you'll never use it again. The fourth thing a foolish man always says is this: "It's not my fault." At first glance, it sounds harmless, even logical. Sometimes things really aren't your fault. But Stoicism isn't about technical innocence, it's about inner responsibility. A foolish man is obsessed with blame. He scans every situation looking for somewhere else to put the weight. On people, on circumstances, on timing, on the past. Why? Because responsibility feels heavy, and his inner strength isn't trained enough to carry it. Epictetus was brutally clear on this. He taught that the moment you blame something outside yourself, you surrender your power. Think about that. The moment you say, "It's not my fault," you may protect your ego, but you abandon your agency. A stoic man asks a different question, not "Who caused this?" but "What is mine to handle here?" Even when the situation truly wasn't his doing, his response still is. That's the difference. A foolish man wants to be right. A stoic man wants to be effective. And here's the quiet damage this phrase does. Over time, people stop trusting you with responsibility, not because they think you're evil, but because they sense you'll always have an excuse ready. Excuses signal fragility. Ownership signals strength. Marcus Aurelius wrote that you always own the power to have no opinion. That includes the opinion that you are a victim. Foolish men cling to victimhood because it absolves them from growth. If it's never your fault, you never have to change. But the cost is invisible. Your character stops expanding. Your respect shrinks. Now let's move to the fifth and final thing a foolish man always says. And this one is the most revealing of all. I deserve more. This sentence is soaked in entitlement. It sounds confident, but it's rooted in comparison. A foolish man constantly measures his life against others, their success, their attention, their rewards, and every comparison ends the same way. Resentment. Stoicism teaches that life owes you nothing. And paradoxically, that belief makes you stronger, calmer, and more fulfilled. Seneca warned that a man who believes he deserves more will never enjoy what he has, because desire without discipline becomes bitterness. When a foolish man says, "I deserve more," he's usually saying, "I expected the world to reward me without requiring transformation." Stoic men don't expect fairness. They prepare for reality. They don't ask what they deserve. They ask what they're willing to endure, improve, and master. This is why foolish men are loud online, complaining, posting, announcing their frustration, while disciplined men are quiet, working, sharpening, building. The foolish man believes recognition comes first. The Stoic knows it comes last. Now step back and look at the pattern. I'm just being honest. You don't understand me. That's just how I am. It's not my fault. I deserve more. 5 sentences. 1 core problem, an unexamined ego. Stoicism exists to dismantle this ego gently but firmly, not to humiliate, but to free you from it. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the soul becomes dyed with the color of its thoughts. The same is true of your words. What you repeatedly say, you become. This is why Stoics were so careful with speech. They knew words are not harmless. They are rehearsals for identity. If you remove these 5 phrases from your life, something interesting happens. You speak less, but people listen more. You explain less, but your presence explains you. You stop trying to prove strength and start embodying it. This is what mature masculinity looks like. Not dominance, not noise, but grounded calm. If this way of thinking resonates with you, make sure you're subscribed to Quiet Stoics. This channel exists for men who want inner order in a chaotic world, men who value discipline over drama, and character over applause. In the final part, we'll bring everything together. We'll talk about how a Stoic man actually speaks in daily life, what replaces these foolish phrases, and how silence, used correctly, becomes your greatest advantage. It's about integration, because removing foolish words is only half the work. The real transformation begins when you understand how a Stoic man actually speaks once those phrases are gone. A foolish man fills silence with noise. A Stoic man lets silence do the talking. This is the difference most people never grasp. When you remove those 5 foolish sentences from your life, something uncomfortable happens at first. There are gaps, moments where you would normally explain yourself, and now you don't. Moments where you would defend your ego, and now you pause. And in that pause, most men panic. They think silence makes them weak. They think if they don't speak, they'll be misunderstood. They think if they don't react, they'll be disrespected. Stoicism teaches the opposite. Marcus Aurelius wrote that it is possible to live well without anyone noticing. That line terrifies foolish men, because they crave visibility more than virtue. A Stoic man understands something deeper. Respect is not demanded. It is felt, and it is felt most strongly when your words are rare but precise. Here is what replaces foolish speech in a Stoic life. First, measured response. A Stoic man does not speak immediately, not because he is slow, but because he is disciplined. When something happens, he creates space between the event and his reaction. That space is where power lives. Epictetus said that it is not things themselves that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The pause allows judgment to mature. Foolish men react. Stoic men respond. Second, ownership without drama. Instead of saying, "It's not my fault," a Stoic man says nothing out loud and fixes what he can. Responsibility does not need an announcement. It needs action. When a Stoic man fails, he doesn't perform guilt. He corrects course. This is why his apologies are short and his improvements are visible. Third, clarity without explanation. Instead of, "You don't understand me," a Stoic man simplifies. He removes emotional fog. He removes excess words. He removes the need to be seen as complex, because complexity is not depth. Depth is simplicity earned through reflection. When a Stoic man speaks, people understand him not because he explains more, but because he has already done the inner work. Fourth, growth instead of identity defense. Instead of, "That's just how I am," a Stoic man treats character as a daily practice. He knows that who he is today is not who he must be tomorrow, and he does not protect his flaws like personality traits. Seneca warned that many men cling to their vices because change threatens their sense of self. A Stoic man lets the old self die quietly. No announcement, no identity crisis, just improvement. Fifth, gratitude without entitlement. Instead of, "I deserve more," a Stoic man asks, "What can I handle better?" He does not expect the world to be fair. He trains himself to be resilient. And here is the paradox. Men who expect nothing from the world often receive more from it, because they are calm, reliable, unreactive. People trust them. This is how a Stoic man becomes dangerous without being loud. He doesn't argue. He doesn't perform intelligence. He doesn't seek validation through speech. He lets others expose themselves. And this brings us back to the image in the thumbnail. The strong, silent figure. Arms crossed. Mouth closed. That image is not about intimidation. It's about containment. Strength that leaks through words is weakness. Strength that stays contained becomes presence. Marcus Aurelius wrote that the best revenge is to be unlike the one who caused the harm. In modern life, the best advantage is to be unlike the foolish man. While he talks, you observe. While he explains, you refine. While he complains, you build. And slowly, without force, you rise above the noise. This is the quiet power of Stoicism, not dominance, not coldness, but self-mastery. If this way of thinking speaks to you, if you want to become the kind of man whose words carry weight because they are rare, make sure you're subscribed to Quiet Stoics. This channel is for men who are done performing, done explaining, done reacting, men who choose discipline over drama, silence over ego, and character over applause. Speak less, stand firmer, and let your life say what foolish words never could.